Mindaugus TARASAITIS versus ARTUR Makarov was a crazy match. On the very first ready go, it actually looked like Mindaugus was in total control. He was able to block the hook of ARTUR, and he was already talking and saying that the match was totally over. But from this moment, ARTUR decides to do a strategic move and pushes his elbow off the front of the pad to get the restart, and Mindaugus was saying that the match was over, but upon the restart, I don't know if he got a slightly less intentional setup or exactly what happens, but ARTUR was able to just barely force the hook on the restart of round 1. From here, Mindaugus realized that he was in a dogfight, and in round 2, he now has the buckle side of the strap, and it looked even a little bit better for ARTUR this round. He was able to force the hook even easier. Mindaugus maybe had moments where he was putting pressure into the fingertips of ARTUR Makarov, but it looks really bad for him in this round overall. He loses this round and now gets another chance on the non-buckle side, but at this point it looks like his elbow flexor is really beginning to gas out, and ARTUR was once again able to force the hook. Upon the ready go, it looked like Mindaugus might have had something. ARTUR wasn't able to get his wrist totally bent, but he was able to keep his wrist flat while at the same time extending the bicep of Mindaugus, and things are starting to look pretty one-sided for ARTUR. It's now 3-0. And in the final round, something crazy happened. Mindaugus nearly was able to turn the match around. He just barely gets connection to ARTUR's wrist, and this match turns into an all-out war where Mindaugus is 3 inches from the pad and ARTUR has full control in terms of the arm power, but his wrist is just barely beginning to get cracked back. From this moment, he has a decision to make. He can either drive toward the pin pad, losing his wrist in the process, or he can continue trying to keep his wrist, and in this moment, ARTUR decides to drive toward the pin, Todd Hutchings style, and he does get the pin. However, his elbow just barely pops off the back of the pad. And this moment would have been super scary for ARTUR because in the process of doing this, he totally lost his wrist flexion and he could have totally blown out his wrist for the following rounds. It looked like Mindaugus might have a slight window of being able to get back into this match, but upon the restart, ARTUR was once again able to set the hook even though his wrist was lost in the previous round, so ARTUR ends up winning this match. But even though the score was 4-0, this match was very, very close. Awesome attempt from the greatest of all time, Mindaugus TARASAITIS, and congrats to the new lightweight champion of the world, ARTUR Makarov.